Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to this week's edition of the Boerne Brew here on Boerne Radio, 103.9 FM and 1500 AM. And you can also listen to the Boerne Brew on the Boerne Star and Boerne Radio websites. I'm the host of today's show. My name's Kerry Barboza, and I'm the sports editor of the Boerne Star. And joining us today, you know him, you love him, Stan the Man, Stan Leach, Boerne ISD Athletic Director. Stan, thanks for being a part of the show.
Well, thank you for that, and thank you for inviting me.
Since you were on the last time, we've had the Boerne ISD Hall of Honor. We've closed out 4 sports, team tennis, water polo, volleyball, and cross country. And, boy, those seasons just flew by, didn't they?
They did.
Yeah. We're also smack dab in the middle of football playoffs, and
Correct.
This show will air on Saturday. The Chargers and the Greyhounds would have played a couple days before in the second round of the playoffs, and we'll get into all that. But my first question is about the new Aquatic Center. How's that coming along?
Well, thank you for asking. It is coming along. I'm really hesitant on giving dates. The last one we gave is December the 1st, and it's going to be close. Are we going to nail it? Probably not, but we're close. We're to the point now, it's any day now. There's water in the pool, and you drive by there, it looks great, and it's going to fit our needs very well. Hopefully by January, we're getting to swim a little bit. But you talk about going fast, swim season. Well, you know, you've been at the state championship, and that's in February,
yeah.
Second weekend, because I know it seemed like I always had a playoff game. And then that Saturday morning or afternoon, I was at the state swim.
Yeah, the girls are defending 5A state champs. So the Aquatic Center, I've seen photos of it. How big is the pool? How wide is it? How many lanes? That sort of thing.
Well, it's, we have one diving board. We have basically 13 lanes. For us to be able to call it an aquatic learning center, we have to have a shallow end. It's even when you're playing water polo, when we're going, I guess it would be north to south, the referees will be able to be on one side, and there will be some areas where someone could touch, but that's not uncommon in a lot of pools.
Okay, and it's an outdoor facility.
It's all outdoor. That's where Coach Slay's office will be. We have seating, but still it'll be it's an outdoor venue.
Yeah, and part of it, just giving the listeners a little bit of history, there was a contractor picked that kind of fell behind. Y'all switched contractors, and the new one has really picked up the ball and really been running pretty well and got a lot done in a short time, new guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Arthur Waterman graduated from Boerne, and the Waterman family, they took it on. And in their defense, they inherited, it's kind of like peeling an onion.
Right.
They inherited some problems that they had to dissect before they could move forward, but can't compliment them and their contractors enough.
And how many lanes did you say it was?
13, a bunch, plenty.
Okay. Pretty wide.
It's wide, and the main thing is it's going to serve both our needs. We're basically got a 10, 15-yard head start and a 100-yard dash with water polo, especially in this region. Kevin Stringer and had a little foundation going on with the Harrison brothers. Harrison brothers, of course, will be iconic when someone tells the water polo story, and there's others, but the Harrisons have given us a head start, and hopefully we keep it. We've had 2 very good water polo coaches. And Coach Slay, of course, he's done it. He's a real water polo coach, and so we're real fortunate. And he also does a great job in swim.
That was built through bond money, right? It was a bond that was
it's
passed.
all bond. Yeah, you can't. It's in the $10 million now. And to win it, we didn't have a separate prop. We had it with some other items, and how we were able to do that is because it's a learning center. It's like
Okay.
And so there will be some boxes we'll need to check off to continue that ownership, and which we will be able to easily. We just last night board meeting had approved our outdoor PE courses and stuff that we will use at that facility.
Now, I know originally you were trying to put a football stadium on the ballot, and you had to take it off for a technical, legal reason or something like that?
Well, kind of yes and no.
Yeah.
when these committees get together, it's just like anything. You have a big shopping list. Anything that you even thought of gets on it, and then you start thinking about what will pass. And the thing about the stadium, let's say, there was not consensus. The committee couldn't even agree on
where.
Yeah, well, I couldn't agree on anything. I mean, the only thing they were together on is they weren't together. About I'm talking about the state, because if a committee can't get together, they're for sure not going to win a bond, because bonds are hard to pass anyway.
Right.
And we're in an age right now, they were always hard. Well, they are extremely difficult to pass now. To answer your question on that, the committee map, there was a goal to try to reach a consensus to take to the, but it wasn't even close, so it took it off.
Stan Leach joining us here on the Boerne Brew. He's the Boerne ISD Athletic Director. I'm the host of today's show. My name is Kerry Barboza, and I'm the sports editor of the Boerne Star. So I know you were looking at revamping Boerne ISD Stadium a little, and then there was talk about building a new stadium. How far is a new high school on the horizon? Is that something that's kind of being talked about, or not quite yet?
Well, I don't think it's anytime soon.
Okay.
Just like Champion turned in, when we turned in our numbers this past year, 2 years ago, we turned in 2,171. 2 years later, we turned in 2,025. So we lost, 150 students in 2 years. Boerne grew 50 students, but the two high schools together in 2 years lost 100. And so, now the whole school district grew a little bit, but in the high schools, there's absolutely no need for 3 high schools anytime soon, because we don't have a 6A among us. And so I don't think and that will be, again, up to committees and up to voters. But it would be very difficult to pass a bond adding a 3rd high school.
How many bonds have you overseen over the years? Because I know some have passed and some didn't.
Well, I've been here for 40 years and been part of lots of wins and part of a handful of losses on bonds. Back in the late 80s, we tried to build a field house and lost that bond. I guess it was, the 2011 bond when we tried to build a new gym at Boerne, and that failed. That bond.
I remember that one.
Yeah, we had an interim superintendent when we lost that bond. I've been very fortunate since then to win bonds. And just says a lot about our community and their need and want to have good schools and good facilities.
That is Stan Leach joining us here on the Boerne Brew. He's the Boerne ISD Athletic Director. And since we had you on last, we had the Hall of Honor ceremony at Cordillera, and it had a tennis theme, Joey Cantu, and then I think it was the 08, 9, and 10 teams, all state finalists or state tournament appearances, and then a couple individuals. Dr. Holcomb got the Canavan Award, and I just thought it was a great afternoon.
Well, thank you, and I'm very thankful for your relationship and your part. This is our 16th. I think we've got a great product that we bring people back and we tell our story. Tennis did not have anybody, and so it was more than time, but also the tennis programs have really just been significant in the last 20 years. And so Coach Cantu, it was a neat day because it was everybody there. Coach Cantu had coached.
Yeah.
And then, down the road, Coach Stewart's had, a state champion and, several state champions when Boerne was 4A. But it'll be important always to not forget those tennis players at Champion that were just going continuously at the 5A level at the same time. So I was glad we were able to do it. It's just such a reunion, and we're very fortunate to have Cordillera and fortunate to have Gina, and because she's got a gift for a hospitality, and it's a neat thing. Thank you.
Yep, and Dr. Holcomb, he got the mention the Canavan. They had, 2 or 3 tables, the Canavan family at least, something like that?
They're wonderful. Sandy, I'll forever be grateful, and then I'm thankful for a relationship with John and the Canavans.
John was there.
He's unreal.
Yep.
He's, 88?
Yeah, and he's still like 6'5" or whatever he is.
Yeah, he doesn't talk like an old man. He doesn't look like one. He doesn't walk. He's got a great gait.
Yep.
And he's been blessed, and love Sean and all the Canavans. I can't brag on them enough.
Yeah, and that was good to see. Some of those, Adam Schrager, the former assistant come from Massachusetts, came in, and
I love Adam.
I said, well, do you think, because his daughter's going to go to UT, I think, and I said, so do you think you'll move down here to be closer? And he's like, I don't know, Kerry. So I don't know if I can stand the heat anymore. I got out of the heat, and I'm not used to it. He says where I'm at, it's like 50 degrees in September. And so it's very different than here, obviously. So
well, and he wasn't raised here either.
Yeah.
So this is not home.
That is Stan Leach joining us here on the Boerne Brew. We're talking about everything going on in Boerne ISD, and like I said, we have you on every few months just to kind of catch up. And the holidays are coming up pretty quick. So when is the last day of school for the year, for the 2025? That's coming up pretty quick.
Whatever that Friday is, isn't that the 19th?
Okay,
December
yeah,
19th, I believe, is a Friday. And so that's the last day. And then we're off for basically 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But, first things first, this next week we're off, and hopefully both teams are practicing during Thanksgiving.
Yep.
That's one of the goals that you talk about on August the 1st is practicing on Thanksgiving Day, and hopefully we've got a great opportunity to hopefully be doing that with both teams.
Yeah, let's talk about football playoffs. Both teams won last week, and I actually saw Sandy Canavan at the Boerne High game. She was there.
Yes. The Gatlin. Case Gatlin's
right,
son.
They're related.
Yeah, and so that's Rosalind's grandson, and of course she was married to Gene.
Right.
So.
Yeah, Cash Gatlin, I believe was his name.
Mm-hmm.
So Boerne High beat Corpus Christi Ray, and this was kind of a point of trivia. That's where Farrah Fawcett went to high school, Corpus Christi Ray.
No doubt, man.
Yeah.
It's for us that had that poster, no doubt.
Well, every guy that I've talked to, Roland's raising his hand. I never did, but every guy that I talked to says, I had that poster. Yeah. And I never did, but I know plenty of guys that did. Actually, like I said, literally everyone I mentioned that to says, I had that poster.
Yeah, she was, I was a sophomore in high school, so that'd be about 1976 is about the time that was out. And so, I'm glad you brought that up, Kerry. The Farrah Fawcett, she did go to Ray.
Yep, Ray, and then UT for a little bit. So she was became the Charlie's Angels, and I was talking to one of the coaches from Ray, and I said, so do people there at the school know who she is and that she went there? And he said, no, not really. And he was a earth science teacher or something like that. He said, I put a picture up on the screen, and I said, I'll give extra credit to anybody that can tell me who that is. And nobody knew who it was.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
but that's something for all of us. That's how quick they forget. That's absolutely very humbling.
Time passes. So Boerne High beats Ray, and they're going to play. But this will air when this airs on Saturday. The game will be over, but they're going to play Thursday in Laredo against Mission Pioneer. So we got that game, and then the next day the Chargers are playing Far San Juan Alamo North. And if they both win, then they both play Thanksgiving weekend. And we were talking about the scheduling. They may have to play at the same time depending on how things work out. But that's a good problem to have, isn't it, that the teams are so successful?
Oh, it'd be tremendous. We've got a team that's 10-1 and one that's 8-3, and we're both playing, on 20th and 21st, and so we're very, very fortunate to still be in the tournament.
Yeah, down in Laredo. And, Brett Sawyer, he's the first year as Greyhounds head coach. He took over for Shea Hendricks, who's at Arkansas. I guess he's coming to town to play Texas this coming week. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure Coach Sawyer's going. And that'll be my rest day after being in Laredo Thursday and Friday. I'll watch it on TV.
Yeah, but, I've talked to Brett every week. I usually call my football coaches on Monday, talk to them a little bit about the game after they've looked at film, and then about the upcoming game. And, Brett's just so down to earth. He's just such a great guy.
Oh,
yeah.
Well,
it was an easy pick to hire him, wasn't it?
It was extremely easy. It's just one of those things that you go through the process just to, because nowadays people kind of just want you to. And so we went through the process, and things that you couldn't argue with, he's a fit. And of course everybody loves the assistant, the backup quarterback and assistant coach, and most popular people in town till they get in the chair. And so that's just life. I mean, and so yes, he was popular because he's the assistant. However, he'd been a head coach before. Those were the tipping points. And then plus, he'd been with us 7 years and done real well as a defense coordinator. I mean, we played for the state championship. And so, yes, it was very easy. And it's just great when it all works out. Not only that, he has brought in tremendous assistants. Coach McLean's doing a great job calling plays, Coach Counts, and then just keeping the rest of the, the band, as they say, in check, moving up Coach Eisenberg. So, we're 10-1 and
1-10 straight, too.
Yeah, that is right. And hopefully we can be 11-1 and play on Friday evening after Thanksgiving.
What was neat about when you played McCollum, of course, Dave Wilkinson was the assistant. He was offensive coordinator, and he took the job at McCollum. Bobby Jett, his son, plays for the Greyhounds, and so Dad had to coach against his son. And it was an awkward thing for both of them, I guess, to a degree, because I asked the son, what's that like? Because Bobby Jett's a defensive back. What's it like? He wants the receiver to beat you and score a touchdown. You're trying to beat your dad. So what was that like? So, it was an emotional thing for him. And I talked to both of them after the game. And I asked, was there any trash talking during the week in the Wilkinson household? He says, no, not really. Just, and Bobby Jett says, I'm not a talker. I just go out and play. That's what he said.
Yeah, that's fair. And, David and Brad are very good friends.
Right.
And they talk throughout the week. And, David was in the stands, I guess, Friday night. And
saw him up there.
He was up there, and he'll be in Laredo on Thursday.
That is Stan Leach joining us here on the Boerne Brew. I'm the host of today's show. My name's Kerry Barboza, and I'm the sports editor of the Boerne Star. And mentioned 4 sports have already come and gone: volleyball, cross country, team tennis, water polo. So let's start with volleyball. The Chargers made the playoffs, and just unfortunate draw in the first round. Last year they drew Cedar Park, who made it to the state championship match. This year they drew Cedar Park, who's playing in the state championship match again. So just a tough draw for the Chargers early on.
Oh, absolutely, and we knew going in on both. The way they do it now, when they do it like 6A football, there's a lot of people that we beat that played a lot longer, and it's just how it falls. In volleyball, you wanted to be in the big school bracket, and we were in the small school bracket, and you actually, because teams we beat got to play a couple more weeks,
right,
or a couple more rounds. There's no system perfect, and if there was only one state champion, we'd have probably maybe won a round or two, but eventually somebody was going to have to go through Cedar Park.
Yeah.
And I didn't see that game this year, but I saw it last year, and she's pretty good.
Yeah.
And so hopefully, that's the next conversation. February 1st, we've already turned in our numbers. Boerne, we turned in 1545, and at Champion, we turned in 2025. So about the second week, UIL will tell us whether you're Division I, Division II,
right,
and they'll tell everybody the break, and then we won't know our new district till February 1st.
Volleyball, Boerne High doesn't make it. Stacy Lawrence is a coach there. I think she's doing a great job, and I know she's kind of rebuilding the program, and had 2 or 3 kids sign scholarships, so I hear good things about what she's doing with that program.
Like I tell everybody, and Bandera's not coming through that door, and Canyon Lake's not coming through that door, and Wimberley, they're not coming through that door. It's a transition when you're moving up from 4A to 5A. In football, they separate it
right
before, but in all the other sports, they don't. And so that, I wish they did all sports like they do football. All these conversations would be completely different, but they don't, and there's no plans to do so. She's done a great job as a coach. She's won 3 state championships, and
right,
it was with a class of about 55 in those conferences. And anytime you're in a tournament that's got 50 some odd people and you came out winning 3 times, when you have players, she's proven that she's done real well. And we've got great players at Boerne. We are hoping for a different district next year. We're hoping for a different district because this is a volleyball league.
Yeah.
But I'm very proud of players you mentioned. Had a good senior class there. Several of them are going on, Hardin Simmons and Lubbock Christian,
yep.
and so
Haley Wheeler.
So obviously got good players.
Mm-hmm.
It's a volleyball league, and hopefully we get in a different one that we can, get in the playoffs and continue to build that program.
Let's go through the other sports real quick. Cross country, I know both Charger teams made it to state. They finished top 10. I hate to say it's a down year because I just think the expectations levels are so high. But when you finish top 10 in the state in boys and girls, that's quite an accomplishment. But when you compare it to other years, it's almost kind of a disappointment in a way because you didn't medal. But, hey, top 10 in the state is top 10 in the state, so that's pretty good.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I tell people get over themselves. Who the heck you think you are? I mean, it's wonderful. The boys finished 7th, the girls finished 10th. And to your point, we've been very fortunate. We've won 8 state championships and, 2 in girls and 6 in boys. And can need to be able to count it, but can't even count how many seconds and thirds in cross country.
Oh, yeah, I know.
I mean, yeah,
Wilkerson had Dave had a bunch.
We've got more seconds than we do state champions, and we have 8 of those. But let's talk about facts. Sheila West has done a tremendous job. Chris Carter at Boerne does a tremendous job, and they'll be back to the podium soon.
Yeah, and Chris at Boerne High, he had one runner move in from California, I believe. But, he got second in boys last year, 5A. And then this year just kind of had some injuries and people move away.
That
just
move
kind of
away was big.
Yeah.
That move away was big. But like I said, it's a cross-country community, and we'll be back on the podium soon.
And then team tennis, both Chargers and the Greyhounds made it into the playoffs. They met in the 3rd round. The Greyhounds won that one, and they made it one win away from state. They made it to the state semis.
Yeah, well, back-to-back regional finals.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
One win away from state, yeah. First year at 5A, Tyson Stewart, the head coach, they move up from 4A to 5A. He played for a state title as a 4A coach. And they move up, and they get one win away from state 2 years in a row. So, man, they've been so close, going up from 4A to 5A, and just to be able to do that quickly, that's pretty impressive.
Well, he's just like Joy. He's top-notch, not only building a program, but his family, him and Jana. And, of course, I get mad at him. He lived here for a while, and he was coaching at Northside.
Harlan.
And I said, my life would have been a lot easier if you had applied for the job, and finally he did, and I sure do wish I'd had him longer, but I'm going to be thankful I've got him now.
Yeah, they met in the 3rd round, and so it's special. It's tough when the two Boerne ISD teams have to meet, because especially in that case where it's a playoff spot.
Yeah, but it says a lot about both programs, and it's going to go back and forth.
Yeah, and then water polo, both champion teams make it to state. They both win bronze. Again, to make it that far, I know the expectation is to win it, but for both teams to get bronze, it's almost like the expectation level is up here. How do you, remedy that in your mind where you say, well, yeah, but we still got 3rd in the state. You still got to be proud of that. And, how do you reconcile the fact that expectations are so high, but then you didn't quite win gold, but you still won bronze. So you got to be happy with that, even though you're kind of disappointed.
Yeah. Again, get over yourself. I mean, I'm telling you. Plus, we're 6A, but we're not 6A,
right.
And so there's not 5A, and so you're competing with bigger schools, and you're competing with people in Houston, Dallas area that have been playing water polo longer than you.
Those schools are way ahead.
We're ahead in the region.
Yeah.
Hopefully we keep it, but eventually it's going to be hard to continue to keep that dominance. So that we'll try to keep it as long as we can.
Yeah, and you mentioned the Harrison brothers. Will, he just signed scholarship. He had, he was one. There was 12 signings at Champion and 6 at Boerne High.
Yeah.
So 18 total kids signed athletic scholarships.
2 big ones were the swim.
Yeah, Cora.
A&M and
And Arizona.
That's pretty big.
Yeah.
We're going to miss the Harrisons. I mean, to say we're not, we're silly.
They're both D1 athletes.
They're D1 athletes. They could have done any sport. They're special. And yes, we'll continue to be good in water polo, but it's just like anything. You don't know how much you miss somebody till they're gone.
Right.
And we're going to miss them.
All right, Stan. Well, that pretty much wraps it up. We'll have you on in a few months, and we'll talk about the UIL alignment because that's coming up in the spring. We can talk about that, talk about basketball. We'll know by then how football did. We'll see how far each team made it. So we'd love to have you back in a few months, talk about everything Boerne ISD.
I love it, and I'll see you in Laredo.
All right. That is Stan Leach joining us here on the Boerne Brew. Thank you out there for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.